This is the TechArt GTstreet. It's based on a 911 turbo but has much more power and torque and a more aggressive track chassis setup. Recently it hit 222 miles an hour at Nardo, so there's no question that it's good for its claimed 630 horsepower and 606 pounds-foot of torque. We're at our usual test track, Bedford Autodrome, but unfortunately it's very wet, and even with four-wheel drive I know it's going to be a real handful. The chassis is much stiffer than the standard turbos, which should be ideal for track work, but the lack of body roll means that when you do reach the limits it's less progressive and less forgiving. Drive the GTstreet smoothly and it will generally understeer quite a lot and then snap oversteer when the twin turbos spool up. In these conditions it's actually easier to turn in on the brakes to get the tail sliding and then manage the oversteer all the way through the corners. Brakes are 390mm discs with 6-pot calipers and there's no signs of fade as you'd expect, but the car is unstable when you use them hard and the ABS seems to be inconsistent, making picking your braking point very tricky. Even with such a demanding chassis and these braking issues, the GTstreet feels very quick considering it's so wet, mainly because the engine is just unbelievable. It feels every one of those 630 horsepower, and despite what looks like scrappy progress, it manages a lap time of 1 minute 29.3. That's about 6/10 slower than a Murcielago managed in just damp conditions around here.